This is NBC Connecticut News at 5.
Shots fired! Shots fired!
Chaos in the capital city. It's first at 5. We've got new information on a shootout between Hartford police and a suspect who opened fire during a traffic stop. I'm Keisha Grant.
And I'm Mike Heidick. We are also learning more now about the officers involved in that shooting on Capitol Avenue.
Newtown wants change. Parkland wants change. The world wants change. Give it to us now.
Hundreds of thousands of voices all making the same call for change to end gun violence now. Singing, sobbing, and shouting filled the streets in just about every corner of our country today.
The exclusive views from Drone Ranger. Take a look flying over the damage of this remarkable storm. Live reports from some of the hardest hit towns. Good evening, everyone. Great to have you with us. I'm Carrie Lee Mayland.
And I'm Kevin Nathan. I'm live in Hamden, one of the places hit hardest by yesterday's storm. United Illuminating working right now to restore power. More than 4,000 UI people, customers across the state without power, mostly here in Hamden. The damage here extensive on Whitney Avenue where I am, so much so that Paul Geary, who lives across the street here, you couldn't even get to your house yesterday. You parked down the way.
What a day it has been weather-wise. Whipping winds, relentless rain, leaving a path of destruction all across the state, and this nor'easter is still packing a punch. We are not done with this just yet. Thanks for joining us, everybody. I'm Mike Heidick. Keisha is off. Doppler radar still lit up 24 hours after this storm started, still causing problems. Eastern part of the state, you can see the mix, the big column of moisture from Enfield all the way south still taking on. And you know what? Thousands of people are still without power tonight. Eversource reporting just about 62,000 customers waiting for the electricity to come back on. 40% of the flights out of Bradley International Airport have been canceled, and passengers who are flying tomorrow morning urged to check in with their airline. Amtrak service suspended until tomorrow. Even the Port Jeff Ferry in Bridgeport not running. We have team coverage all across the state tonight, reporting on the changing conditions as they happen. Chief Meteorologist Ryan Hanrahan starts us off with the newest information. Ryan.
We begin with breaking news. State police grieve the loss of a brother after an accident on I-84 East in Tolland.
Drone Ranger capturing the procession for Trooper First Class Kevin Miller making its way from Tolland, that crash site, to Farmington. Here is now a live look in Hartford, where police and firefighters are lining I-84 in a show of respect, one of many happening across our state.
Good evening. I'm Jerry Brooks.
Good to be with you. I'm Tara Joyce. Trooper Miller was on duty at the time of the crash earlier today. This was the scene near exit 68, and sections of I-84 remain shut down in both directions as that procession continues.
It's a difficult day for the Hartford Police Department. We're in recovery mode. We're here to support, number one, the officer first, her family, and our officers need help.
It is our breaking news right now. A veteran police officer critically injured after a call turns violent in downtown Hartford. I'm Keisha Grant.
And I'm Mike Heidick. Drone Ranger high above the active scene on Constitution Plaza. That is the old Sonesta Hotel. It is now apartments. An officer was helping with a tenant eviction when she was stabbed in the neck.
We have live team coverage as the investigation unfolds. Let's begin with NBC Connecticut's Tara Joyce in Hartford with the very latest terror.
Please raise your right hand. Do you, Edward Minor Lamont, solemnly swear that you will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Connecticut?
I do.
And we begin your news at 5 with the changing of the guard at the state capitol as Ned Lamont is sworn in as Connecticut's next governor. I'm Keisha Grant.
Glad you're with us. I'm Mike Heidick. Governor Lamont only been on the job for a few hours, but he's already laying out the blueprint for the future of our state.
It's a very pivotal election. A lot of important issues going on that we need to get addressed here in the state of Connecticut.
Never ever stood in line for a minute.
To make the difference. Mine could make the one vote difference.
A new energy for the midterm elections. Connecticut showing up in numbers for today's high-stakes vote. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Keisha Grant.
And I'm Mike Heidick. So much for all that apathy you hear about every year, right? The polls have been busy all day, and we have 3 hours left from the races to the rush to cast a ballot. We have live team coverage of Decision 2018.
Let's begin with NBC Connecticut's Kate Rayner live in West Hartford, where the lines have been out the door today.
Get news at 11.
All right, a lot of news for you this Saturday night, including that relentless rain and rising floodwaters in the Carolinas. The damage Florence is doing right now, and when remnants of that monster storm could make it up here. Plus another shark attack off Cape Cod. Tonight, a man boogie boarding at the beach is dead. New and frightening details from where it happened. And Connecticut firefighters finally back home. Their wild journey to fight wildfires out west. First up, though, we are tracking Florence, a storm that just doesn't seem to quit. Good evening, everybody. Thanks for joining us. I'm Dan Corcoran.
Fighting for a father's freedom, hundreds of high school students walk out in support of a classmate's family. I'm Keisha Grant.
And I'm Mike Heideck. Nelson Pinos came to the U.S. illegally nearly 30 years ago, and he spent over 9 months holed up inside a church so he can avoid being sent back to Ecuador.
NBC Connecticut's Kate Rayner shows us how his daughter and her peers are using their voices in hopes of keeping his family together.
At one point, we had 7 people all at the same time actually falling ill.
Just fell out, like right on top of me, and I was like, oh no.
Wow, at least 90 overdoses in less than 2 days on the New Haven Green, and the number is only growing tonight. Good evening, everybody. Thanks for joining us. I'm Mike Heideck.
And I'm Keisha Grant. Medics had to help at least 19 more people who overdosed today alone. Next up at 5, what's left of Hurricane Michael now moving into Connecticut. We've got a first alert for heavy rain. A flash flood watch is now up for the entire state. Look at the cameras. They tell the story. Raindrops on the lenses there across the state. Good evening. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Keisha Grant.
And I'm Mike Heideck.